hurt Pastor Justin, Pastor Ethan, and Pastor Corbin's feelings. We're doing this for a good laugh in tough times and to show you that we are all human, and it's just good fun. So hang tight. We're going to hear some really funny, embarrassing stories of all three pastors. Don't miss out.
Hello everyone, this is Michael and Amanda Austin. Corbin belongs to us. We were asked to come up with some stories, maybe embarrassing stories, but we couldn't really think of anything that was embarrassing, but we did find some stuff that we've always found as funny with Corbin. So if you know Corbin, you'll know he likes ice cream. So the first story goes around ice cream. Whenever my mother-in-law, when Corbin was small, my mother-in-law would always feed him ice cream every time they were together. And his mouth would get so cold and numb that instead of saying yum yum, he always said num num. So with all the grandkids after that, instead of being called ice cream or yum yum, it was always num num, and they knew it was ice cream time. Second of all, you know Corbin likes to talk. I'm sure you've realized that about him. But whenever he was younger in pre-K, one time we were out in the car and we saw his teacher, and instead of saying honk at her, he said hork at her. So we always talk about that. Also, he likes, or at that time, he liked motorcycles, and he called it mochacycles. And then at that time, his favorite movie was Pinocchio, and he pronounced that Pokinoki. So that year for Christmas, he did get that, but it's always been known as Pokinoki at our house.
And if you know Corbin at all, you also know that he loves music, obviously. He also loves superheroes. And what you may not know is that started at a very early age for him. Like most kids who were born and raised early on in the late 1990s, early 2000s, he was raised on VeggieTales. Well, one of Corbin's favorite superheroes from the VeggieTales series from a very early age was Larry Boy. And there is an episode where there is an entire theme song dedicated to Larry Boy. And Corbin loved Larry Boy so much that not only did he know the entire episode by heart, but he also made up a dance and would dance around and sing the Larry Boy theme song anytime it came on. So that's a really fond memory we have of Corbin when he was really young.
Yes, we do wish we had a video of that to share with you because you would love to see it. But we do want to say that we were very proud of Corbin. He's accomplished a ton of stuff, and we just love him a whole lot, and we hope that y'all enjoy him. Thanks.
Hi, Landmark. My name is Tammy, and I'm Pastor Ethan's mom. I've been contacted and asked if I could share some embarrassing moments from his childhood. Now, Ethan was pretty laid back, so I couldn't think of a whole lot of embarrassing things, but he has two sisters. I figured they would be the better resource, so I enlisted their help. He is the youngest and the only boy of my three children. His two older sisters are a little bit older than him. Like I said, the oldest one is Mary, and she's 6 years older. And next is Ashley. She's 4 years older. This age difference and gender difference provided a lot of opportunity for moments that we've laughed about over the years. The first thing was we didn't realize what a little entrepreneur Ethan was going to be. He had a lot of different ideas how to make money. The first one being that when he was about 8 or 9, the girls played on a junior high basketball team at the little bitty town that we lived in. And I worked only about 5 minutes away. But yet, Ethan couldn't go home alone after school when they had games. So I would allow him to stay after school, as long as he stayed in the gymnasium with them and wouldn't leave. I gave him a little bit of spending money for the concession stand, and he was set. I came walking in one day, and he was so excited that he had made some money. And I, asked him how he made the money, and he shared with me the story that he would tell people about his mom not giving him money to eat and how hungry he was. So he may not be embarrassed about that, but Mom was embarrassed, and he did have to return the money. His next entrepreneurship move was his teenage sisters got cell phones. And he didn't have one yet, but he had their phone numbers. And I don't know how many boys he sold the phone numbers to, but he was making money off of selling his sister's phone numbers to boys. And we did put a stop to that pretty quick, but then we fast forward a few years. And like I said, Mary was 6 years older than him. So she's a senior in high school when he was 12 years old. And he did something that Mary discovered one day. She was an office aide at the office in the high school. She would go around to the junior high and high school and collect the attendance from classrooms. She walked into a classroom one day and all the boys began to snicker and whisper and talk. And I don't know how exactly she discovered it right then, but it was learned that, the little wallet-sized photos of her senior photos, Ethan was selling those to the boys in the junior high. We don't know how much money he made, but they were able to print the photos off of the printer from home, so I don't know if he was printing sheets of them and selling them, but we'd laugh about it now, but his sister was mad that all these junior high boys had her picture that they had bought from her little brother. Now, I did want to touch on real quickly about the sleepwalking. I know that Renee has shared a little bit about Ethan sleepwalking with the new baby and stuff. That began at a very early age. And I'm just going to say that there's a difference between embarrassing and humiliating. So there's some stories that I'm just not going to share. But no, it began at an early age. It became comical. And we've laughed about it over the years. Being the boy that he was, he and his sisters did fight a lot. I know that he seems laid back and pretty cool collected, but him and his sisters fought quite a bit. To the point one time that I got a phone call from one of the girls and they were locked up in the bathroom at the house. I'm at work, and Ethan had chased them there with a baseball bat and basically was holding them hostage there. So I had to go home and defuse that situation. Another time when he was a little bit younger, he was probably about 8, 9 years old. It was morning time. We lived in a 2-story house. The girls, their bedrooms were upstairs. Ethan's was downstairs. I would be getting ready downstairs. The girls upstairs. And it was always loud. I've got 2 teenage girls, a little boy that's all boy, and it was always loud. And this morning I was thinking about this story and about how the loud didn't bother me, and they would fight, they would carry on, and that's what happened while we got ready for our day. But there was always that tone of voice. When it changed, Mom knew she had to get involved, and this was one of those mornings. I'd heard Ethan run up the stairs. His sister chased him back down. Tones of voices have changed. I thought I better go save his life. I walked out there. He hides behind me. He leans around and he yells as loud as he can at Ashley and says, "Well, you know what? You're a PMS." And he, at that age, thought that was the biggest insult because, remember, he lived with a mom and 2 teenage girls, and PMS was never fun.
I'd like to say that it's an honor to be able to say a few things about my son, who I love very much. He's a delight in my life and very proud of him. But there have been a few embarrassing things in life, some exciting things. As well as you know, anything to do with Justin can be exciting. I just remember a couple of little things. One thing was, one time Justin was really liking a girl. He had spent quite a bit of time with her and was hoping that this girl would be a steady girl in his life. And he came back home after seeing her one time and let me know what had happened. And I was a little surprised what he did. She just shared with him that it was time for them to separate. So she was kind of calling it off. And I asked him, "What did you do?" He said, "Well, I sang to her." "Well, what did you sing?" He sang a song I sang back then. "I've got the Lord, and that's enough, that's enough, that's enough." That's what he told her. He said, "I don't need you." I thought that was kind of unique. There's another time when Justin was just a little tot. I mean, I don't know, 5 years old, not very old. Maybe 6. He had just started to ride a little bit. And he wrote us a letter. He had got upset with us because he wanted us, my wife and I, to be able to trust him to do something, and evidently we didn't. And so he wrote us a note, and he ran away from home. In the note that I still have, he said, I duped on you. Why couldn't you dupe on me? Well, he meant depend. He said dupe. And I watched him as he packed his little bag and he walked down the street about 200 yards, and there was a bridge there by our old church. And he hung around that bridge for a good while. Then he got hungry. You know, Justin, he likes to eat. He came home and duped on us, I guess. Another little time, something that happened that he and I both did was Justin was known to sleepwalk. And so one night, my wife woke up to Justin sleepwalking. He had gone to the front door, the back door rather, and was starting to open it asleep. But I tend to sleepwalk too. I got up out of the bed, stood in the dining room, and did my fingers like this. And she's watching all this, and I'm asleep and he's asleep. And I pointed at him and I say, you know, what are you doing? What are you doing in this house? So, and then I proceeded to shoot my fingers. Pow! And Justin began to jerk, saying, oh, that hurts, that hurts. So I shot him a couple of times. He jerks. And then my wife said he walked back to his room and went to bed. And I walked over to the bed and went to bed. And she said that's the craziest thing she's ever seen in her life. Well, that was probably an embarrassing moment for both of us. But I wish my son a happy night of being roasted. Bless you guys. Goodbye.
Well, there you have it. All three are human. All three have done funny things. And now you know all of the stories. Have a great night.
Do do do